I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Statement of adequate notice. In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Laws of 1975, the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting of the South River Board of Education was provided in the following manner. On January 15, 2025, the notice was delivered to the office of South River Borough Clerk and posted at the Board of Education Administration Building. On January 15, 2025, the notice was faxed, mailed to the following newspapers: Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger. On January 15, 2025, the notice was posted at the South River Borough Clerk's office. Roll call, Mr. Rosa, please.
Mr. Bazak.
Mr. Bazak has been excused.
Mr. Butson.
Here.
Mrs. Bush.
Here.
Mrs. Byrne.
Here.
Mrs. Lau.
Here.
Mr. Nielsen.
Here.
Mrs. Sadowski.
Here.
Mrs. Young Yao.
Here.
Mrs. Urbanik.
Mrs. Urbanik, you've been excused.
Mrs. Calvin Samairi.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. Board Secretary, minutes.
So for the minutes, we have the special meeting minutes for December 16, the regular meeting minutes for the same date, and the reorg meeting minutes for January 2nd.
Motion for the meetings of minutes.
Motion to move the meeting minutes in accordance with board policy. Second.
Second. Use of facilities, Mr. Rosen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, sir. Use of facilities, Mr.
So
Rosen.
for the use of facilities, we have number 683 all the way to number 701.
Motion for the use of facilities.
So moved.
Mr. Budson, second. Ms. Byrne, all in favor?
Aye.
Financial report, sir. Ms. Lell, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby certifies that it is in receipt of the financial report, which indicates that no major account has been overexpended and that sufficient funds are available to meet the district's financial obligations for the remainder of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends that the reports of the Board Secretary and the Treasurer School monies for November 2024 be approved, and I so move.
So second,
Second.
Ms. Sadowski, all in favor?
Aye.
We're going to go to the superintendent's report this evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Nielsen. A few items. First, you have items 3.2, 3.3, and 3.4, which are confirmed HIBs. And then for my monthly report, just a few quick items. It is School Board Appreciation Month, and each of you have a certificate of appreciation in your folders. Just really our way to just say thank you for all you do for the children of South River and our community. I have a detail in my superintendent's report about our budget and the process. This will be here until we do our budget hearing, so you'll see some more information about our budget process as well in our next meeting. Our high schoolers had a Scholastic Showcase this month where they had the opportunity to really learn about the courses that are available in our program of studies, including electives, and it was very well attended, and I think from the feedback I received, they really got a lot out of the experience. In residency, our residency office continues to do a wonderful job. They continue to ensure that the children we are serving do indeed live in South River, and they have identified several cases where the students really should be re-enrolled in their home school districts, and so really a commendation to that department for doing a tremendous job. I want to remind the community that our pre-K registration for school year 25-26 is open. That registration closes April 25th, and applications are going to be reviewed very quickly after that submission date. So please, if you haven't done so already and have a 3 or 4-year-old that lives in South River and you are interested in our full-day pre-K program, please go ahead and fill out that application to show us your interest in the program. And to conclude my superintendent's report, I would like to have our auditor who is here, Jerry, you're tucked away somewhere, I don't
He's
see you.
stuck in the corner.
There you are. Who's going to come up and just give us a brief report on the audit that is presented on your agenda this evening.
Brief? Brief, okay. So, my name is Peter Stankiewicz. I'm a partner in the firm of Samuel Klein and Company. We are the appointed auditors for the school district for the fiscal year ended June 30th of '24. Our obligation is to the board to perform the audit and to report on the results of the audit. I'm happy to say that we have what's called an unmodified opinion, meaning the records were presented properly to us, okay? And we have no comments or that require a recommendation, which would require a plan of action. We have none of that, okay? How did we get there? Our records are, the records from the district are presented by your management team to us. Our job is to do the audit on those records, okay? And the audit sometimes, well, we get involved in sampling, okay? Everything has to be justified. We can't just, pick what we feel like looking at. And so we do a sample of payroll transactions. We do a sample of expenditures. We look at and verify your enrollment counts. We verify your meal counts that are done through your food service, for which we get reimbursement on a per meal or per breakfast basis. We checked all through those items, and we had good results. The biggest areas that you have are expenditures and payroll. Payroll, we run a sample, okay? Maybe we'll sample 40 or 60 various items throughout the year, but again, randomly. And we found those results to be very good. And what we test for is to make sure that everyone is paid, who gets paid, is paid in accordance with board authorization and/or your collective bargaining agreements. So those results were successful. And I think this was our second year with this new payroll person who replaced a longtime person, and we found her performance to be very good. We're comfortable with her. And that's one of the problems with some of the audits when there's transition. You could have a 30-year run of really no problems, and a new person comes in and you got problems. However, if there were, the staff here, like for example, Johnny would have probably picked up on it before we got there, which is also important, that the system has the ability to pick up a problem before it gets to our level. They're not saying everything was perfect, but if there was a boo-boo and he caught it and fixed it before we got it, that's a good thing. Okay, it's where a boo-boo happens and it slips through to our level, and then there's a problem. So with payroll was properly administered, the payroll taxes were properly paid, and they're properly cut off with regards to the fiscal year. Expenditures, look, we could do a lot of fancy talking about auditing. We look at a random sample of anywhere from 60 to 120 invoices, plus a bunch of other invoices that are big dollar items. We check those out, but we check them for the documentation is proper, meaning all disbursements are properly supported by invoices. 2, charged to the correct budget code. 3, to the correct fiscal year, and also in compliance with the public school contracts law. Okay, you met all those tests. Those are the biggest things to do. Bank reconciliations here, which is of utmost importance, are done monthly by an independent treasurer. He's also the CFO for the town. His work is excellent. So he reconciles the bank accounts monthly, independent of inside the building over there, and that's the way it should be. Districts are allowed to eliminate that position, but I don't think that's a good idea. Someone else, you need a second set of eyes to look at things. Plus, Johnny's got enough work to do. It doesn't take, it takes a lot of time to do it correctly, okay? So we got good results from all that, okay? We did look at some of your food service expenditures, not what we paid them, but what they paid their vendors. So far, that looked pretty good. We looked at invoices from the various suppliers. We looked at timesheets, expenditure reports, theirs. Cash receipts, we checked the cash receipts that they obtained, which all go into your own bank account. We verified that those items were properly deposited and timely. And also again, I said, we checked your enrollment counts. Okay, we spent a lot of time making sure that the kids are all properly accounted for as of October 15th. So in the end, we have pretty good audit results. We have a nice set of records. I will tell you, we transitioned this year from an old computer system, an old computer service, okay? Those are usually pretty tough. It takes some time to work out some of the kinks, but we were able to get through everything and formulate our opinion. Also, too, we filed the report on time, okay, at 8 o'clock last Wednesday night, and it was kind of a minor miracle since Johnny was out for 8 days prior to that, and sort of we needed him to get us information, and he, through his staff, was able to get us everything we needed, and that report got recorded at about 8 o'clock last Wednesday night. So we were able to, I had my whole office on hostage, that no one leaves the office till we get that receipt. So that was all done. And again, we have an unmodified opinion based on the records as presented. There's nothing that happened that would require us or the board to do a corrective action plan. You have two documents, by the way. The thicker document is a joint venture between us and the business office. A lot of statistical information that's in there. Now, it may not matter internally here or locally, but there is information in there that people who evaluate school districts for either what they're spending, how they're spending, what the results are, or on Wall Street, if you're going to, again, go out for bonds somewhere down the road, they look at all the information that's in these documents. There's a lot of information here about South River itself, as well as the school district and the revenue flows, the rateable base, employment base, big taxpayers, all that stuff. It's a pretty standard thing in the industry, so it's not just all about what I'm saying here tonight. A lot of the information that's in here, okay, was provided by either Johnny's office or the CFO from the town, or we dug up a lot of it through all the different publications that are out there. So that's the document that's a joint venture, and the only thing inside of that belongs to us is our auditor's opinion. The thinner of the two documents is our representation to the board, since we are answerable to the board about the operation of the business office. And as I explained, we had all good results from all the testing. And I think for the first time in a few years, our 30% of the expenditures for the food service fund did not exceed the requirement. So that's a good thing. And by the way, a lot of districts had that, and it was only because there was so much money out there floating around from the government that one agency was giving you more money because of COVID, and then another agency was saying, you're over the 3% or the 30%, so it kind of worked itself out. So in the end, but I do want to tell you that your support staff across the street was very supportive and very cooperative with us through the whole process. So in the end, we appreciate everyone's help, and like I said, we filed it on time, and we're happy about that. So.
Very good. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Stankin.
you so much.
Any board members have any questions, Mr. Jerry?
We're good?
We're good.
Good.
I just want to mention, I just want to give thanks for you and your team. I know the dedication and the time you took, especially while I was out, medical issues. Thank you. Thank you for getting it on time.
No, nobody was allowed to leave the office until, and including the secretaries. They didn't leave, so. We're all good then?
We're good. Thank you so
Good night,
much.
Jerry.
Thank you.
See you next year.
We appreciate it.
I'll see you sooner, I'm sure.
Let's move
We're all good?
superintendent's report, and then I'll do student.
Yes.
I think you have to prepare a resolution or accepting the audit. Okay?
Okay.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Chris, good seeing you.
You too, Jerry. You're good.
This thing keeps falling.
Thank you. All right, student board rep, we're going to
We're
turn
going
it
to go
to
to you for your student board, because we're going to go into closed session, and I really don't think you want to hang around and listen to all that nonsense.
The high school's drama club will be having a dramatic production of Clue, and a new world languages club has been added, which plans on continuing the events usually held by the German Honor Society.
That's it? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion to move to superintendent's report?
So moved.
John? Second? And Johnny? All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay, you're free to go.
All right, chickadee.
Thank you.
Done for the night.
Reception.
Yeah, I know, I gotta do public now.
You too.
Let me get down to that screen. This time, we're going to open for reception of visitors. The public may address agenda items only at this time. Please state your name and address, and please keep your comments to a 10-minute time limit. Anybody from the... You're the only one, Julie. Nothing on the agenda? Okay. With that, we'll close the public portion.
John, can we open it to any comments? Why don't we do that?
Okay, because we're going to go into closed session, we're going to open it to any comments. So if you'd like to come up now, because I said, once you're done, we're going to go into close. Okay, so, thank you, Julie.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Do you want my name and address?
Please.
Julie Maida, 189 Main Street. So Happy New Year. I just came on a fun note, something I've been a little passionate about lately that I've been looking up. Has anybody ever heard of the bike bus movement? It's something that a teacher in Oregon, Portland, Oregon, created within his elementary school of a bike bus movement to school. So this teacher created this program where once a week, no matter what the weather was, they had a train and like a leader to bike these students from their town all the way to school. And it grew so much that he kind of made a business out of it, of exploring and showing other cities how to travel and how to build a community where it's safe to bike to school. So not recently, Montclair, New Jersey started it as well. I've been following them on Instagram. If you look them up, they're Bike Bus Montclair. They started with a few kids, and now they're up to like 300 kids biking to school once a week. So I wanted to bring this up because I know it's winter now, and we have our 21st Century program where sometimes we have to create meetings with the parents to kind of get input on things. So I wanted to bring this up today to see if it's a possibility of maybe creating a meeting to gain interest in parents and students and seeing if this is a possibility for our town. I know this would be a long process. We have to implement and speak with our police department, create routes, pick a day, pick a location for bikes to be. The great part about this, if you look it up, is they start with the younger schools, like primary and elementary school. Parents are involved, kids are involved. Everybody has a volunteer position in this so that everybody bikes to school safely. They're required all to wear helmets, so I think starting that young will bring our kids to, you know, see how cool it is to wear helmets and not think it's a drag to have to put that on to come to school. In some cities that I've been looking at, they even, you know, we've got our kids that like to do the electric scooter as well, but that's the older generation, like depending on how we implement it and start it. I don't know, I thought it was something fun that we could think about. It's a small town, we're always talking about walkability and the traffic that we have with our cars in the morning, and maybe building something like this once a week and making it grow and becoming part of our, you know, everyday morning coming to school would be something fun. So I wanted to bring that up. I've got a bunch of information on it as well, and if you look it up, there's lots of stuff in Montclair. You know, I don't know how large Montclair is compared to us, but I know it's very hilly, kind of like we are too. So I feel like if they could do it, this is something definitely that we could try or see what everybody's interest is in this. So I thought I'd bring that up. I have more information if you want me to email it or try to schedule something and just see how people in town would react to something like this. I thought it was a really good idea to start getting our kids more active, especially as the spring comes. So if we start now, maybe this is something that we can flow into.
Yeah, you can certainly email information to me, and then we'll follow up and see what we can do.
Okay, thank you. And then
I've seen something along the lines of that, not with bicycles, but with older kids meeting up and walking younger kids to school. And like you said, it turns into large groups of kids walking to school. So maybe if the bicycle one doesn't work, because if kids can't afford a bike or something, maybe we can narrow it down to walk room.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's a good idea, Julie.
Great.
Dr.
Thank
Zercher will
you.
look into it if you
Yeah.
email her the information.
And then I just had one small question regarding our morning entrances. I have 3 kids in 3 of our schools. I did notice that all of our schools open up and give us 15 minutes from doors opening until school starts, except for the primary school. So in the beginning of the year, it wasn't such a big problem because everybody kind of got there, but as it's gotten colder, I've noticed that more parents have been trying to do the drop-off for the primary school, and 10 minutes just isn't enough. If you're not inside the parking lot
me.
by the time that they open those doors, you'll never be there in time because, as we know, by 8:40, Officer Joe has to go inside, Officer John has to go inside, and then he's stuck going to the front of the door, letting in like 50 kids that don't make it in that 10-minute slot. So I was just wondering, how come that's the only school that doesn't do the 15-minute?
Yeah, it really all has to do with how much time there is between us having our contracted staff on duty and being able to open those doors. But I do know now in the colder weather, all of our schools, and I've asked the principals to do this, now in the cold weather, all of our schools, as soon as students arrive, they're bringing them in. And we are compensating staff for being there to supervise the children outside of their contracted hours so that we're bringing kids in and not leaving kids outside to wait in the cold. So if you're arriving a little bit early, your child will definitely be let in during the cold weather for sure.
Yeah, I just see it like not so much when the doors open, but like just because there's only those 10 minutes before they close the back entrance, because then he goes straight down into the front to then have to open the door in the front. So I've noticed more because of the cold. Parents are now having to leave the parking lot, park, and then like, I would say at least 50 kids every morning have to go through the front door, but they wait because he has to go from the back. You know, just that 10-minute slot of the drop-off. The more cars that start doing that because of the cold, the less productive, I guess, because then he has to go inside and they have to,
I would definitely reach out to Dr. Lieberman and talk to her about it directly. She knows where her staff is at what time and how she's using and positioning the staff in order to be able to maximize that amount of time. So I would definitely reach out to Dr. Lieberman and just definitely see what's behind it and if there's anything she can do.
Okay.
All
Well,
right.
thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you,
Have a good
Julie.
night.
Resolved that pursuant to Section 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meeting Act, the following subjects to be discussed at a session of the Board of Education closed to the public: attorney-client privilege
And personnel.
and personnel. And then give me the last line. It is presently anticipated that the items to be discussed in closed session can be disclosed to the public when resolved. Motion?
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
All righty. We're going to closed.